Yeah, the band is back together again. Everybody looking quite nice. Hello, good morning, Mama V. And,
Hello, good morning, Kojo and Roland. Yeah, we're good.
It's nice to see you. You know, I don't know why today I'm quite. My spirits are lifted by the sight of you. Maybe it's the yellow. You know, yellow has that effect sometimes on the spirit.
I like the sound
almost
of
like
that.
sunshine.
Yes.
So I'm your sunshine, guys.
Yeah,
Enjoy me just for today.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
It's till 9, so enjoy it.
You have to. Blazing. What's popping?
I'm watching you. These days, you don't fight me anymore, so.
Oh, I know. I miss our little, banter and, you know.
There are no fresh issues for us to fight
Oh,
over,
it's okay. Today, let's find something.
Let's GFA.
All right, well, let's get started. Let's run through the headlines quickly. I have the Ghanaian Times. A number of headlines. I'll start with this one from Dr. Ifri Akoto, the Minister of Food and Agriculture. He says, we'll deal with saboteurs of planting for food and jobs. That's a warning from the Agric Minister. All right, also, small-scale miners threaten to expose officials and chiefs and others engaged in galamsey. I'll talk a bit about that later. Also, Ghana to extend oil for development program with Norway. That's good. We have a lot to learn. And the banner headline, addressing repercussions for domestic market. Government ready to review EPA. That's the European Partnership Agreement. And this is being said by the President. It's actually quite an important thing that we ought not let slip by. I also have the Daily Dispatch. Banner headline, NDC General Secretary position. Can Koku Anyidoho beat Asiedun Ketia? And I like the way they've posed the question. When you see the newspaper come up on your screen in a moment, I'll show you what I'm talking about. The Daily Dispatch front page has this very interesting way of putting the banner headline. And the full sentence is, Can Koku Anyidoho beat Asiedun Ketia? But baby, I was a can, Nashed. Also on the front page, how some leading NPP members got Boache Jakon sacked. This is a piece by a journalist with, I believe, Kasapa FM, who's writing a serialized piece. Mike Affle of Kasapa FM Online. Also, Kwesi Boche to join battle for NDC's 2020 slot. That's all in the Daily Dispatch.
All right, let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper, front page of the Graphic. We will not abandon friends, partners, President tells UK minister. So President Akufo-Addo on the front page in a photograph with Miss Harriet Baldwin, the UK Minister for Africa at the Jubilee House in Accra. SSNIT saves 18.1 million Ghana cedis after deleting 8,366 ghost names from pension payroll. Acting CJ apologizes to judges affected by cathedral projects. Back page of the Daily Graphic, trainees protest against teacher licensing, expedite process to lift ban on small-scale mining. That's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper.
We can take a look at the Daily Guide now. The front page says UMB signs off $11 million for one district, one factory. You also have police get 100 new vehicles to fight crime. Mahama boys wicked, according to Kwesi Boche. That's what the Daily Guide is reporting. And Ayarga thugs beat up GNA reporter. The back page says UG host third ICPA SHDA conference. Nashaman ready for Magdan Champs League. And Kotoko issue hands off warning to collapse over Yakuba. Details of that story in the Daily Guide newspaper.
Okay, so let me do the last two papers I have here. I hope they are. The Today newspaper has on the front page tension in Kaswa, Iron City. You have an attached picture of some of the makeshift structures that were raised down. Apparently, some structures went down in the process. Kwesi B causes panic in NDC flag bearer race. The story is on page 3 of the paper as well. But the main story occupying the front page of the Today newspaper is KK's upon fingered in GMPC global haulage deal, but denies allegation. The story is on page 3 of the Today newspaper, and you can get a lot more of such details of these stories also on the front page. But in the meantime, though, let's do the public agenda. The public agenda is Ghana's only advocacy and development newspaper. And that's his tagline, though. It helps. Africa imports $35 billion worth of food annually, despite holding 60% of the world's fertile. They put arable here, land. We're talking the public agenda newspaper. Well, we have 60% of the world's fertile lands, but we do imports of some 35 billion US dollars. In Ghana, rice imported, even tomato is even, we import from Burkina Faso. Yeah. So stakeholders demand establishment of disability decks in Ghana's hospitals, and then we have village dwellers raise concerns over prepaid meters. All right. Now we have a concern also being raised by the public agenda newspaper, and it's also been a concern raised by many, and its headline here, but just a strip, says, a dying civil society in the midst of national crisis. Not only a dying civil society, all those like the media.
All right, let's follow up with the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder, CTN row deepens. 3 ex-presidents of GIFF back implementation, but importers and exporters may declare strike tomorrow. Doris appeals for wheelchair. No community would be left out of mobile connectivity. That's being said by the communication minister. UMB commit $10.7 million to starch factory and the one district, one factory, and UK to inject £20 million into Ghana's economy. That's it for the Finder.
All right, well, let's settle for some details. I have, shall we say, 2.5 stories. I'll start with this one. Small-scale miners are threatening to expose officials, chiefs, and others engaged in Galamsey. Now, I want to read a direct quote from the story. It says, and I quote, "We kept quiet and did nothing about illegal mining, and it unfortunately resulted in an 18-month-long ban on our legal business. We are still bearing the brunt of the actions of some individuals, and we have resolved not to allow it to happen again. Henceforth, as part of our strategy going forward, we will expose all political actors and chiefs who are found to be involved in illegal mining without fear or favor." It's interesting. First of all, these small-scale miners, in part, are victims of a situation that was not created by them. It was following a conversation on the Super Morning Show between myself and the then head of the Minerals Commission, Tony Orbin, which revealed that, in fact, every single small-scale miner in this country was operating illegally because they didn't have their licenses ratified by Parliament, as the law states that they should have been. Following that, government had no choice, really, but to suspend all of these licenses while they went ahead to try and bring some sanity to the mining space. It's been 18 months now. Whether or not it should have taken this long is a matter I'll allow others to comment on. But I think at this point, if they are now saying that they will start naming names and revealing those who have been doing this thing illegally because they've known all this time and have been quiet, I think my first call would be for the police to immediately start communicating with these individuals, start getting these names. Don't wait for them to hold it as a threat that, oh, in the future we will name them. No, it appears they are confessing to having known about illegal miners, people who are in the government space, in chiefs and other leaders who are involved in this. They are saying they know about people who have broken the law. The police needs to act. Honestly, this is the best test I can think of whether or not we have a serious police force in this country.
It's interesting they admit that they are well aware that it's because of their failure to report such matters that led to the 18-month ban like they saw. Even before the police moves in, they should be interested themselves in going forward and reporting the matter. I get a bit of the fear because they are talking about chiefs, and these are people that they themselves need to work in the areas that they are also operating. So that makes it very tough. You know the roles the chiefs play, giving you the lease and everything. So let's just see how it goes. And more importantly, governments last time spoke about a roadmap towards lifting the ban. I think that is what the conversation should also be around. More importantly, whether we have a system where we can know people who are doing legal mining and those who are doing illegal mining. We heard a bit about some technology, the monitoring. Are we going to keep Operation Vanguard out there for that long? We already told we are spending millions keeping them out there.
Well, the answers to these questions all depend on exactly how much we value our natural resource gold and what priority we want to place on it.
Absolutely.
Because you remember at the last Meet the Press, the Vice President revealed at Flagstaff House, at Jubilee House, forgive me, that he went to Dubai and was told about some $6 billion worth of gold that they've been buying from Ghana, when our records show that we've only been sending out about $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So $5 billion of our money is somehow being siphoned out of the country without us having any trace of it, not being able to tax it or regulate it in any way. How about golding? Them golding, where does it come from? Who's been mining it? And even in these 18 months that it's been banned, let's go to Dubai and find out how much gold they bought from us in that time, and whether it's all been from large-scale mining concerns. Also, in that same center spread, forgive me, is this story, which I think if we don't pay attention to, might slip under the radar. It says Ghana ready to review EPA, and that's according to the president, who was addressing some of the repercussions of Brexit for the domestic market. Now, I remember soon before Brexit was announced, we started having visits from several key people in the British government. Tony Blair passed through. He's not in the British government, but of course he is one of the influencers of policy in Britain. And then, of course, we had Boris Johnson pass through. Then their Undersecretary for Trade, who is Adam, the name will come to me, he's actually of Ghanaian descent. He also came through. So, one by one, these very important policy shapers came through Ghana and other African countries, trying to reposition the relationship between Britain and Ghana. Now, I don't want to waste time on geopolitics and all of that, but Britain has a massive concern over the influence of the East in Africa. Okay, little by little, their own influence, which was usually brought through aid and opportunities that they offered to the African continent, is being whittled away with pure cash from China. Okay, so they're very concerned about how they can battle this. Now, this particular envoy, the Minister for African Affairs, or the Secretary for African Affairs, who has come to visit the president, brought with her £20 million. That's...
You're saying it's too small?
That's the day I use signing bonus. Somebody said that here yesterday. Okay, so it's not, I mean, between countries, it's not the kind of money that we are used to. But more importantly, it's not because we're sitting around waiting for Britain to bring us money. But I think the demonstration here is that Britain can no longer use money to retain that influence. So they are finding other ways. They say this money is to be used to open investment opportunities. Okay, they want to now start investing here. But the president was very smart, and this is what I wanted to commend him for, by saying that, look, if you've left the EU, then let's think about this EPA again. You remember when the EPA was first announced, we were very concerned that it wasn't very favorable to us, a country that is struggling with imports, you know, to have this staggered deal over years to keep getting more and more imports from the European Union, just in exchange for the opportunity to sell our stuff to them.
Which we can't, because we don't have the quality, we don't have the right
packaging. If the suggestion for
the
suggestion for review is coming from the UK, as
no, it's from the president.
Great.
It's from the president.
But I'm still saying that I hope it's not an influence from the UK, because they are leaving that zone now.
And
so
they now
want should have an interest in how African countries stick to that agreement, because it's an agreement that they no longer stand to benefit.
Indeed.
So our government should be a bit cautious in how they want to review it, knowing that they are not just reviewing it in order to benefit the Brits who are now desperate, and that is why the PM is heading to South Africa and Nigeria. They're moving all over the continent.
But I guess the idea I'm stating here is that if you are right, then the Brits need us.
Yes, they do. They do.
And we need to negotiate from a position of power.
All right, a couple of stories. Daily Graphic newspaper. There's this big story about SSNIT saving quite a number, some amounts of money. They put it at 18.1 million Ghana cedis. The trusts had, as of August 24, 2018, saved this figure, 18.1 million Ghana cedis, following the deletion of 8,366 ghosts' names. The amount is currently lodged in a designated account at the Bank of Ghana, they say in the story. And in an exclusive interview on the deactivation exercise in Accra yesterday, the Director General of SSNIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tenkrine, said the names of 43,618 pensioners were earmarked to be deleted in the event they failed to go through the verification exercise. And according to data available to the graphic, 35,252 pensioners verify the accounts biometrically. So there's a breakdown of the deactivation prior to the exercise. 734 people above 90 years were on the payroll, but 370 were presumed dead because they did not resurface after the accounts had been deactivated. Additionally, the story says the accounts of 1,471 out of the 9,348 pensioners between the ages of 80 and 89 have also been deactivated following their failure to biometrically verify their accounts. So there's a lot of work ongoing there. I doubt if all these persons are ghosts, actually.
I'm not really excited listening to the breakdown you are giving. So you're talking about people who fail to come to verify?
Exactly.
Okay. And the assumption that there are people who are not supposed to be on the road that are also on the road. Now the question is it if they are trying to tell us that people are not supposed to receive money from SSNIT and yet have been receiving it, then you ask why are they not interested in more prosecuting those individuals, because that is an offense that they are committing. They are taking money that they do not deserve.
Because transactions could be traceable.
Well, that's where Martin Amidu comes in. I mean, SSNIT can do what it is doing. Other agencies will have to come in.
Finish writing to the media. Look, the whole point is, as far as we're concerned, before we got here, initially when the MPP government came into office and the new administration for SSNIT came into office, you remember there was some 300 and something million Ghana cedi that may have been saved following the inability or perhaps removal of so-called ghost names. Apparently, they hadn't gone through the verification process. Now, in the meantime, if we want to first start with the whole narrative, how many of the numbers of pensioners do we have? Where are they located? Are they accessible? Can they access the services of SSNIT? So that when SSNIT says go out or come to us and verify your details, they will be able to do that. If they have been able to do that, knowing that somebody at Mankranso or somewhere at Axim is able to come to a SSNIT center and do the verification, then they can come to the media with these conclusions and then try to perhaps give thumbs up to.
So we shouldn't be all excited because
no, not at all. There's been a precedent in which
the four of us are on it. The four of us are on it. Two of us go to verify. Then they delete what is due the other two. Then they say we've saved by calculating.
Well, but you are expected to verify within a specified time.
Yes.
So if you don't show,
within that
how else should they classify you?
The person can show up tomorrow and go and verify. The problem is the savings they always talk about. The impression they give that they've saved 18.1 million.
So there should be a rationalization at the end of the process to tell us whether out of those who were not paid this month, for example, whether some of them actually turned up later to verify. But there's another thing we're all forgetting. Once again, they are patting themselves on the back for removing ghost names using the system that they said does not work. Just thought I'd throw that in.
Okay, one more story, and this is being picked from page 16, still in the Daily Graphic. The acting Chief Justice, Justice Julius Ansah, has apologized to 9 justices of the Court of Appeal who are to be relocated from their residences at East Ridge in Accra to pave the way for the construction of a 5,000-seater National Cathedral. In a letter to the affected judges, Mr. Justice Ansah apologized to the judges for the inability of the administration to provide them with timely written notification to relocate from their present residences. The affected 9 judges, they give the names, and the letter recalled that on April 5, 2018, a delegation from the Office of the President had informed him of the government's intention, that's the acting Chief Justice, to utilize the entire area of land between the State House and the Ridge Runabout for the construction of the proposed National Cathedral projects. And they give a breakdown. The story continues on page 26, so you can catch up. But where's the Chief Justice?
No, so that letter is a bit old. It was actually dated the 10th of August.
This particular one?
Yes. The letter is coming from the Chief Justice, or perhaps has been on the orders of the Chief Justice.
So this is not this is not coming
No,
after all the commentary.
It's an old letter.
All
And in
right.
fact, JoyNews reported this on Monday, didn't they?
So when I saw it, I thought, was okay. This is
So
a new
on
one,
that day,
following all the
the day he
conversations.
signed the letter, the CJ was not in the country, so that was why he wrote to the judges, urging them to move. So it was in that letter that he also apologized. So that's the letter that brought this whole discussion about the cathedral into force.
Okay.
So,
All right.
But I think as far as we're concerned, it looks like the conversation on the cathedral will not die down. Not necessarily about who is funding it, but the priority for the cathedral as a country. And I don't know whether government is sometimes cognizant of what opinion could taint its own opinion, what public opinion could do to taint its own public opinion or rating. You know, elsewhere in the US, etc., there will be a mid-year rating of a government or even a monthly rating of a government.
approval ratings.
And those ratings are used by the government to measure itself, to sit within the milieu of public opinion. Now, if you go on to social media, and that is where people can vent their spleen, not necessarily using the mainstream media, people necessarily are not questioning why we should have or whether government is spending money in this cathedral or not. We are questioning, is it necessary as a country for us to pull
Isn't that a bit
resources
late?
so-called?
Why is it late?
It's not late.
Why is it late?
It's not late. It's
is
not
it late?
for me.
It's almost as if, because this has been a year, right?
Yeah,
Since
even
the
if they are
whole
dug
with
foundation,
the-
they can fill the hole.
Now,
You see,
if you take
the point actually, Roland, is this: where did this idea come from?
America.
Who woke up one morning and said, "Ghana
Are
needs
we
a
now
cathedral"?
going back there?
No, it's the most important question which requires an answer. Okay, was it government that said, "I think we need a cathedral. Churches, come here. We need a cathedral. Pay for it"? Or was it the churches that went to government and said, "Oh, we would like to build a cathedral, so please help us with some land"? Which is it? Because when you listen to government, they make it sound like we are facilitating this project by providing land, but it's the church's project. Okay, that's how they communicate to us. Well, today, when I spoke to the newly appointed presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, and they, of course, are a part of this project, he revealed to me where this idea came from. So we'll find that out when we listen to that conversation.
All right, real quick, the final newspaper, there's an appeal, and I thought I would touch on it, just so if you're touched by it, you want to help provide a wheelchair. That's what they're asking for. The story's on page 16. If you can, please. That's the story. Doris is a 14-year-old. She crawls on her knees to make movement around the house. That's a picture there. So it's not like she's kneeling. That's how she is, and that's how she moves around. So her mother practically carries her around everywhere to church. They didn't mention school in the story, but they mentioned church a lot. So I'm not sure if she's in school, but she lives in a community in Nandom in the Upper West region. They've got a contact number, so please grab the final newspaper and support if you can. And I really hope that you can to bring some sort of relief to Doris and her family. So that's the only story that I'll do from the final newspaper.
Okay, let's quickly look at some of the headlines online. MyJoyOnline.com has these. NDC will return collapsed banks to owners unless tangible wrong is established. That's Isaac Adongo there.
I like that story.
Yes, Bolgatanga Central will jump for joy at the sound of that. Teacher's license approach is terrible. Nagrat president explains opposition. Also, student indiscipline, cause of failures. What else do we have here? The Statistical Service starts mapping exercise for 2020 census and urges public support. This is an important exercise. Let's work towards it. Teacher's license, partake or exempt yourself. That's what the National Teaching Council is saying. Hey. Okay, and there's a video. JoyNews' Joseph Opoku Gakpo speaking on food security in South Africa. This video makes me so proud. I want you to check it out. Watch our own Joseph as he talks to the world. Also, only clinic in Chamba struggles to provide basic care. Another heartbreaking story. But we're not struggling to provide a cathedral. Okay, what Kofi Annan would want for Ghana and the world, that's an opinion piece which made me think. Go and check it out. And the top story, Islamic organization opposes the erection of the National Cathedral. Interesting story there. Perhaps we'll raise it later if we get the chance.
All right, real quick, can we do BBC? There's a story on the BBC about a Hong Kong woman who marries stranger after being tricked to work. So she saw this advertisement as a makeup artist. She applied, and then they said, oh, you can actually be a wedding planner. But in order to get there, you have to pretend that you're marrying someone. They actually signed genuine certificate and everything. She thought it was
story.
just, yeah, and then, so that's the story. Hong Kong woman tricked into marrying stranger. If you find it interesting, you can. And they said this is actually a new trend of getting, this one is just 21, of getting women to marry people that they otherwise would not.
Now, how does the man even feel after tricking someone into marrying you?
Oh, it's not strange in Asia to have, or even in Africa, to have people marrying men or women they don't know.
Well,
so it's not a new thing. In
Yeah, but they're not tricked into it, are they?
Okay, there's also another story of President Trump, who is given some warning of a sort to Google, because he says that, you know, when you do the search, Trump news does not easily come. And so, you know, somebody is doing something. So he's warned Google, Twitter, and Facebook they are treading on troubled territory amid a row over perceived bias. He said they had to be very careful after earlier accusing Google of rigging the search results for the phrase Trump news. An aide said the administration was looking into the issue of regulation. Charlie. So when the moment you Google Trump news, like, he should just quickly pop up.
It means he's not making the news, that's all.
This is how the leader of the free world is majoring in the minors.
Yeah.
But we can't do that. We have to get straight into sports, which comes up right after this.
There's the US Open where the Heat is making some of the players, I think 5 of them now, leaving the competition. I'm sure Benedict will have loads of news on that.
And they have to take some time out, I think, after a number of sets. And it's the first time it's been done.
Well, you know what they say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the open. We'll hear more from sports after this.